double for your 13% of the population. You are 25 to 30% of the sex offenders. White people are very tired, exhausted. We are so freaking exhausted. You know, black people, in the nicest way possible, you guys have really exhausted all of white people's charity. White people are very charitable. We are the most charitable people on the planet. And I don't say this with hate in my heart, but I don't know a single white person that has routinely helped black people on a regular basis that hasn't gotten burned from it or given black people opportunity. I don't. They always steal something or call you racist or, you know, and I mean this with love. I don't mean this in a mean way, but white people are fatigued. We're exhausted. We are tired. We are so tired. White, yeah, borrow money, they don't pay it back. You know, white people have done a lot of good for society. And I think that's very much overlooked because my entire life, you know, I would always hear about how evil white men were and how white men are just the root of all evil. And the interesting thing is, white men have always been the most charitable to me. They like white men. And especially if you talk to a really smart white guy, they're like a different breed of human. They can fix anything. They can think through any problem. They don't get angry. I mean, why do you think women they go for like the Daquans, Tyrese, you know, the drug dealer black guy? It's because, you know, it's too boring dating a white guy. He's going to be so stable. He's just going to get things done. They're so positive. Like they're just naturally positive people. White men. And I'm not saying white people don't have their problems. You know, I could really talk. Oh, I could talk about white people's issues, you know. White men don't have the ability to tell their wife no, pretty much ever. They will assist in their white wife's, you know, they're yes guys because they're too busy. They're too busy working. Why do you think the black women are like, we're going to try to swirl? There's this new trend of black women dating white guys because white guys are so chill. They're just chill. All they want to do is just work. They want to work. You know, you ask a white guy, like, what's his social life? He'll say social life. That's for, you know, and I don't mean this. I think white guys could actually benefit from this because if they had more friends and of a social life, they could at least, you know, bring other women around to piss off their wife and maybe get her in line, you know, put some fear into her. So I'm not saying white people are without sin. We are, but we've acknowledged white people's sin. We have, you know, we've acknowledged it. Okay. You've told us, okay, don't forget it was a white man. Dad, I know what race you are. Dad, sorry. Unalived your leader. Dad, really? You can't that, you know. Here we go. And I don't mean this in a mean way. You know, I think at some point all these reaction channels are going to come at me. I just can see Abin Preach nagging me. I just see it in my future. The OSHA. I just see them coming back to nag me because they got nothing better to do. Even if we go into school, let's see, because that's always they say, what percent of mass shooters are white? I'm grokking this, so take it with a grain of salt. 50%. So we're actually less percentage of mass shooters. Like we're 60% of the U.S. population, according to this. And we're a lower percentage of mass shooters. You know, black people, I'm sorry, you guys still are double. You guys are 20 to 25%. You're 13% of the population. For your size, you're still double. You can't come out. We're below what percent of the population we are. You guys are still double. Even, you know, it's crazy. Even when you point out a white crime, you've still managed to outcrime us. Like, it's so crazy. It's the mass shooters are red herring because when they're trying to do gun control, they count gang shootings, which are overwhelmingly people of color. And everyone's going to get mad at me. Now, I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again because this was just such a canon event for me. It really was. When I was in England, I had like probably at one point, I think at one point I went at 100% black staff. And to be honest, guys, I've said this before. I have a lot of love for black people. There are things that I love about black people that are just so much better than white people. And I can riff, I could go back and forth about both races. Like, I think black people are funny. I think they're way funnier than white people. If I ever want to go to a party, black people are going to be the most fun. Like, if I do street interviews, they're always more willing to do street interviews. There's just an energy. A lot of them are high energy, and I'm high energy. So it's like a big ball of fun, but they can never stop at the fun. They're saying sex offenders are disproportionately white. Is it going to be over what percent we are of the population? What percent? It could be. I'm going to find out today. What are the demographic breakdowns? Sorry, Doug MPA. You guys still are double for your 13% of the population. You are 25 to 30% of the sex offenders. We're about white consistently shows 50 to 60% of sex offenders are white, which is about what we are of the population. Hispanics are low. I guess you guys are not sex offenders. Good job, Hispanics. Good job. It's so crazy. I can't even talk about black crime without having to talk about white crime. It's like women. We can't ever talk about women. And then I'll debunk it. I'll go through and say, let's see, is it a higher percentage? Now we're getting into serial killing. Well, how common is serial killing? Is that even that's the most rare crime of all the crime. They're like, white people dominate the very most rare crime. Sorry, if you're in a white neighborhood, nobody's really afraid you're going to be sex offended or you're going to get serial killed. That's just not a normal fear. It's not. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm not trying to be rude about it. But, at some point we just have to be honest here. We just have to be honest. If I'm in a white neighborhood, I am not afraid I'm going to be serial killed. The black serial killers didn't get caught. I don't know. I'm not a crime. All I'm doing is chat GPTing. So, this is just what's on chat GPT. Yeah, I guess the Hispanics, Criminals are a minority of all races. What percent? I'm just curious. What percent of black men have committed a crime by the age of 25? 50. Oh my God, that's so much worse than I thought it was going to be. It's now 50% of black men have been arrested by age 23, including all types of crimes. 60% of black men have been arrested by age 25. These are arrest rates, not convictions or actual criminal behavior. Now, again, and I'm not trying to be rude here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying. White people, we have our problems too. But just my entire life, I just have witnessed black people take advantage of people's kindness. I think we have had one too many BLM riots as a people. We are done. White people have funded so many of these causes, right? White people have watched black people, burn down cities in the name of Black Lives Matter just for the money to be given to some fat lesbians. Actually, blacks are more likely to be serial killers as well. Look at the database compiled by Florida Gulf Coast University. They're leading in violent crime. I don't know why it would stop at serial killing. Okay, so I could be wrong. When I hear that, it's just sometimes, look, and I hate it because for my job I have to use stats, but I know how manipulative people that use stats are. I'll give you an example. One stat that I always use that, pro-marriage pushers use is that single men die sooner than married men, right? That married men live longer. But they include drug addicted alcoholics that aren't they're not marrying anybody, of course. So it's very dishonest using that. Stats can be manipulated. So when I hear, white people are the majority of serial killers, maybe that's what they say, but even I am a bit skeptical even in that. If I'm really being honest here, I'm skeptical. I don't know what, like, if they're leading the way in every other violent crime, I just don't know why it would stop there. Yeah, you have to read the entire study. Yeah, and you can, but they'll still find ways, they'll still find ways to manipulate it. So I just have to go check with Serial Killers Anonymous. I don't know. Look it. All I know is that, people, and I was debating with Andrew Wilson, I think. Like, I'll see Andrew Wilson debate, and he's like a king of stats. He's like stat, 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 stat. And I think, like, if I was debating with him, we agree on most things, but if we were going to debate on something we disagreed on, I just know he would find a way to be right, right? And Destiny does it too. They're very good at, like, debating. But for me, it's like everything has to come with I have to see it with my eyes first. And I don't know how big of okay, what? How many serial killers are active in the US right now? Back in 2023, I was put on a government watch list for speaking out about men's issues. The government spent who knows how much money trying to shut me up. And honestly, to some extent, it worked. I was demonetized on YouTube. I had 3 Instagram accounts deleted, 7 TikToks accounts wiped out, and I was forced to delete 3 years worth of work, videos, interviews, everything. The more honest I was, the harder I was punished. And eventually, I had to shut down my show, move back home, and completely start over. But I'm not giving up. This time, we're doing things differently. I've created my own app, a space where free speech actually means free speech. On this app, you'll not only get access to all my old content, but you'll also help shape our future documentaries and show topics. For just $10 a month, you're not only supporting me, you're supporting a movement, a network that refuses to be silenced. The link is in the description. Join us and be a part of something that fights back against censorship. Now, let's talk bigger picture. Why don't we have true free speech in America anymore? Welcome to the female economy, where women make 80% of consumer buying decisions. Have you ever wondered why women always seem to get their way? Well, here's the truth. Men tend to care about the free flow of ideas. Men can separate an idea from the person who said it. But women, on the other hand, have learned that they can control what gets said by controlling what gets funded. Platforms like YouTube have one goal. They want to make money. And if that means catering to the majority female audience, they will. That's why being a conservative creator today feels impossible. This isn't just about me, it's about the future of online speech. With the Audacity Network, me and my community will never have to worry about being silenced again. Oh, the FBI defines a serial killer as someone who's committed at least 3 murders with a cooling off period between each murder that can range for weeks or for years. Serial killers are often distinguished from spree killings, which happens in a short, continuous period, or mass killings, where multiple people are killed in one event in a very short period. Okay, so white people are 80% of the 25 and 50 active serial killers that they're guessing. Like, that, it's so, do you know what I mean? It's like, you can't ever talk about black crime without bringing up white crime. It's just, and even I'm skeptical of that, but it's 25 to 50 people. Do you know what, like, yeah, so if you kill 10 people at once, you're not a serial killer. Oh my gosh. But, and at one point, I gotta be honest, black people kind of scared me. But I have lost all fear. Now, I've told this story before. I think I got off track. Obviously, this show is for people that aren't idiots. Okay, this show, it's meant for people that are not retarded. Okay. You could be a little retarded, but not too retarded. You know what I mean? You could be a little bit, but not too much. And if you are not smart enough to understand that a generalization does not mean every single person, obviously Doug MPA works for the channel. He's not a criminal. He's not, it's like, obviously this is not every single black person and this is not every single white person. But if I have to say not, like, if you're not smart enough to put 2 and 2 together, please watch someone else. Now, what they're going to say is, I was in a public relationship with a black guy, obviously, and they bring this up a lot. And I really don't have any complaints about that. I got nothing. So, a lot of people are saying that this newfound rhetoric is like, who hurt you, whatever. And that's really not, this isn't like a dating experience. What this was a co-host experience as well as a collaboration. This is a fucking YouTuber experience. And what happened was when I was in England, I had like an 80% black staff. And out of the staff, a lot of them were really good to me. They were awesome. We all loved Blessing when he was on the channel. King was on the channel for a while. There are some awesome people that I worked with, even Denalva. But it just took 1 or 2 YouTubers to denounce me and insinuate that I was somehow racist. And congratulations. Because before then, I really didn't see color. But you assholes, I do now. Fuck you guys. Yeah, I do now.